Now, I have actually hotwired my brain to not fap, not look at anything lustful, and to not have a bunch of dirty thoughts throughout the day anymore. And I want to tell you how I exactly did this, and I also want to tell you about my own personal experience with no fap and the times I made mistakes and relapsed. So stay tuned for that. Now, the only way to overcome lust is to be honest with yourself. You know deep down, the more you give into porn, girls on Instagram, even get girls at your work or school, for example, that you sexualize because you're just too afraid to talk to them. You are making yourself worse in so many ways, because not only, like any addiction, the more you give into it, you are getting hooked by the second, but you're also slowly turning into an outcast, a weird little gremlin that's slowly losing his social skills and any sort of manhood he had left. Knowing that just touching your pee and releasing goes this deep, and knowing that you feeding your addiction in any way, whether you're full on fapping 3 times in a row or just watching sexual videos and just edging but not releasing, is still killing your brain. And if even knowing this, you still want to keep on constantly masturbating, then you are all sorts of crazy. And I don't even know if there's actually any hope for you unless you make a change now. Another thing that helped me overcome lust is once again being honest with myself and telling myself that I was addicted. I needed to say out loud to myself that I am addicted to porn. I'm addicted to fapping. I'm addicted at, getting lustful thoughts when I look at girls. Because I remember the first time I got onto NoFap, and actually even before I started NoFap and I was still fapping every day, I always said to myself that I was never addicted. I could stop whenever I pleased. But back then when I didn't fap for more than a few hours, I was, itching at the neck. I needed to look at it, but nope, apparently I wasn't addicted. While this mindset is good to have once in a while because, you don't want to admit you're weak and you feel stronger, I guess, but especially if you still fap, you're not even on NoFap, or you are on NoFap but you keep relapsing, you don't really have a right to say if you're addicted or not to something, right? You don't have a right to say you're not addicted to something if you do it every day, if you keep relapsing, if you keep giving in, right? Because you're just lying to yourself at this point. With me, I wasn't fully lying to myself. Like, obviously I was lying to myself a little bit, but overall I generally manipulated myself to believe that I was not addicted to fapping, and this made me subconsciously see fapping as a good thing. Especially when I did fap, I just thought fapping was not that deep, right? Because I'm not addicted, I can stop whenever I want, so I'm gonna keep fapping, right? This was my mindset, and this is such an awful mindset to have. I know it's hard, but you have to swallow your pride for a quick moment and accept the fact that you may be addicted, right? If you can't even go a week without watching porn. I remember once as soon as I admitted to myself and gave into the fact that, okay, I am addicted to porn, I'm addicted to this, I'm addicted to that, it really did free me. Now, if you didn't know, my longest NoFap streak started in April the 2nd of last year and ended September the 7th, I'm pretty sure. So April the 2nd, it was a few days before I started this YouTube channel, maybe a couple weeks before I uploaded my first video. And I don't usually like talking about this, but if you've made it this far into the video, then you deserve to know. But basically, the first 4 or 5 months of the channel, I had not relapsed once. Now, a few mistakes I made during this long streak was that once in a while I was still edging to inappropriate videos online without properly busting, obviously, and always had to clean that pre-cum off my PP afterwards, which is just always such a horrible, embarrassing feeling. I always felt ashamed of myself every time I did it. And as well as that, I was also, pretty much every day counting down the days, counting up the days of how many days I wasn't fapping. Okay, so now I've done, 122 days, let's go, right? 122 days, I don't think I lasted that long, maybe I did, I don't know. How many days is 5 months? I don't know. Anyways, which is obviously the worst thing you can do, because the more you are thinking of your streak every single day, the more likely you are to fail it sooner and sooner. And finally, like I told you already, I kept on telling myself, I'm not addicted, I'm not addicted, I'm not addicted, even though I was still edging a lot of the time, and every day I was just dying to have one last fap. So when that special day came on September the 7th and I finally relapsed, I, once again, finally had to admit to myself that I was addicted. It was hard, but it was because I forgot what it felt like to bust a nut. I really forgot. And as awful as it was, as down as I was about, as much as I was so angry with myself, I still wanted more and more. I still wanted to do it again. I still wanted to bust it again, like literally a few minutes after, maybe like 10 minutes after. So you see how just one relapse can completely mess you up if you don't have enough self-control. And especially me back then, from a few months ago, I had very little self-control. Like me now, I'm cool, but back then I was quite weak. I won't lie to you. Anyways, I did end up relapsing a few more times after that incident, maybe a couple times in October. Then I didn't relapse for a little while, and then I remember I relapsed on January the 5th because I was edging in the morning, which is something even like when I was fapping, it was something I never usually did. I never usually fapped in the morning, right? But you know, I was completely overtaken by lust that day because the night before I was edging, and it was just still on my mind, led on to the next day. Anyways, I was edging it, just by myself, obviously by myself. And I accidentally busted. Fantastic. So that is my tiny little story of my nofap journey. A bit shaky at times, but overall we are staying strong, especially right now, because I was, one, honest to myself and admitted that I was addicted, so I could, you know, actually do something about it, actually overcome my addiction. Two, I knew the consequences of even consuming the tiniest bit of naughtiness can completely mess you up. And three, I deleted social media, so I'm not in the habit of mindlessly scrolling, so I can subconsciously look for something to turn me on. Addictions are so hard, and that's obviously why they're called addictions. But if you just have that tiny bit of willpower that others don't, you will overcome your addiction eventually, and that's a fact. My advice for you, as well as everything else I've said in this video, because obviously it's pretty good advice from me, not gonna lie, I want you to also do more tasks that require more of your discipline. This could be working out, studying, or even meditating if you struggle to sit still for a long amount of time. Because this way, not only are you doing other productive things that are helping your life and getting your mind off fapping or whatever your addiction is, but you're also training your willpower in a bunch of different ways with all of these activities, mentally and physically. So naturally, it's going to be easier to not fap anymore. Yes, you are still going to get lustful thoughts. I still get lustful thoughts. If you wouldn't be a man if you didn't get lustful thoughts. I don't see that as a bad thing, but it's what matters is what you do with those lustful thoughts. You just get the lustful thoughts and just like, okay, I'm feeling, kind of horny, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not going to fap. I'm not going to do anything like that. Or do you, as soon as you get lustful thoughts, oh, I need to fap. I need to get rid of it. Like it all depends what you do with it. But yeah, just follow this and you will become more disciplined. And also check out my mindset playlist now for more advice on nofap. Thank you for watching as always. Take care and peace. Bye-bye.